Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the 20s Survival Guide. This is your host, Emily Astley, and today we are going to talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about on this podcast for ages, and that is the ultimate guide to breaking up with someone or being broken up with. Look, I'm going to preface this before we get into the episode, but obviously everyone has their own way of how they handle breakups and what you think is best for you. And obviously it really just depends on what kind of breakup it is. Is it toxic? Is it someone that you've been with for 5 years and it's been a pretty happy relationship most of the time? That's completely fine. So take this with a pinch of salt if it's not a piece of you. But I am giving you this episode to empower you, as it is the new year. Maybe it's time to shed the dead weights, and that might be your partner. And I'm just saying, but this also is important to go back to whenever you're going through something, whenever you're feeling like you need to end your relationship. This is my official breakup guide. It's obviously so important to know if the person is right for you. If they're not right for you, then this is probably coming at a great time and you should definitely take notes. So without further ado, sit back. This is the kind of episode that you want to get a cup of tea or a margarita or whatever it is that you like. Sit down and listen up, guys. In this episode, we are breaking it up into two parts. The first part is how to break up with someone, and the second part is how to be broken up with. And I'm just saying, I have experienced both in my time, and neither of them are particularly pleasant, I must say. You really want to make sure that with this person that you're breaking up with, that you have strict boundaries so that you can heal as quick as possible. So we're going to dive into how to break up with someone. And this is personally one of my favorite parts, okay? Because we don't really want to be broken up with. That's not as fun. But I'm going to give you my top tips. If you're breaking up with someone, you probably have known this for a little while. You're not going into the day thinking, I'm breaking up with this person and I've just decided it on a whim. That's like very rare. So we're going to talk about pre, during, and post breakup things that you really have to do in order to nail your breakup. And you can actually nail it. Trust me. Let's start with pre-breakup. You're the one breaking up at this point, and you are going into this thinking, right, I want to leave this moment with this person broken up with them. You don't want them to convince you that you should stay with them, because then nobody wins. Tip number 1, make sure that you have your friends around you. You need to be rallied up. You need your friends to rally you up, give you the confidence boost that you need before you go off and do this, right? You need those friends who are going to have the utmost confidence in you, that you know that you're doing the right thing. Not the ones who are like, I'm not sure. No time for that. You've made your decision, right? You need all the confidence you can get. And I know that it's really hard to think, oh, how am I going to get all this confidence when I'm breaking up with someone? It's going to be so difficult. Of course it's going to be difficult, but you need confidence, because you need to make sure that when you go into this, they are not going to sway your opinion. Also, you want to look really good. So you need to fake the confidence if you don't have it, and you need a game plan. You need a game plan of where you're going to do it, when, how long you want to stay there for. So yes, you want to get it out, and yes, you want to, wallow with them maybe if it's a relationship that you're really going to miss. But you want to make sure that you have a time limit in your head of how long you're going to stay with them, so that you don't end up spending hours of your day just with them if it's like something that you just really need to get done and dusted. Another thing that's really important is make sure you have a plan after, because when you're feeling shit, when you're feeling low, you don't want to just go home and be alone necessarily. Sometimes you do, actually. That just depends on the person and the breakup. But if it's like a toxic one that you really just need to be distracted by, you want to make sure you have like a plan to see a friend. The friend maybe comes over and you can just talk her through it or talk him through it. And you've just got someone then to make sure that you're not going to spiral even more. And if that's only for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then you want them to go home, that's fine. That is more than fine. But just make sure you have a plan after. If you're going to this person's house, or you're going somewhere that's not in your house and you're driving there, I would say on the way there, something that's really important and that I've always done is to play like really empowering songs. So, you know, the Rihanna, all those songs that you just feel really empowered by. And then you'll just build up your confidence, right? Because you want to go into this thinking, I know what I want and it's not this person. We're being harsh, I know, but this is my approach. I'm not going to go into the breakup playing sad songs. That's going to make me feel really sad, and then that's going to make me want to stay with this person, and I don't want to do that because they're probably not the right person for me. That is what I would suggest pre-breaking up with someone. Now, during, one of the hardest parts is staying strong, and we all know that. It's very hard to be able to say your piece and then not let them sway you, but that is why you have to have confidence in your decision, and you need to have receipts. You need receipts, guys. When I say receipts, I mean you need to know what they did wrong, when they did it, and even if it's the day and time. Because if they want to bring up with you that they've not done those things, or they want to manipulate you or gaslight you, you need to have receipts so that you can go into this and say, look, you've done this multiple times. You've also hurt me multiple times doing this. And then you really kind of give them less of a leeway to say, oh no, like I never did that, da da da. You have receipts, and that is key. So you could either go into this with the it's not you, it's me, and that's the classic, and it's probably the easiest as well. It's not you, it's me, like I'm the problem. You can go down that route, and that is completely fine. The problem with that route though is that it kind of leaves them hanging, and if you had a good relationship and they have messed up and you're just not happy with them, they're probably going to go away thinking, what was it that I did that made her or him not want to be with me? And then they're going to just kind of be left hanging. So I'm not saying literally bring out like a Santa's list of everything that they did wrong. I'm just saying maybe it's not a bad thing to kind of tell them what you didn't like that they did in the relationship, what wasn't working out for you, but just make sure that you know that, and that you don't let them talk back and kind of convince you otherwise. I just think it will probably be more helpful for them if you're trying to look out for them, which obviously maybe you're not. It will be more helpful by letting them know slightly what they did wrong. It might be hard for them to hear, but it's probably going to help them in the long run. So it's a bit of tough love. But if you're in a toxic relationship and you need to get out, that's a different story. So I'd say make sure that you're confident in your decision, because even if you're not, you can't let them sway you, because they will. Trust me, they will be coming for you, and they will be swaying your decision and trying to tell you why you're making the wrong decision most of the time. You just want to be succinct. And also, when you leave, they will then think of you with more respect for being someone who knows what they want, because that is the most attractive thing. When you know what you want out of things, when you know what you want out of people, that is very attractive. So you're going to leave them wanting more by just not budging, really. When it comes to crying, it really depends on the type of relationship, as I've said. If you are going through something really emotional and, you know, you've been with them forever and it has been such a happy relationship and a happy time for you, then of course it's just really natural. I'm not going to tell you that crying is something that you should avoid or something that you should make sure that you do, because that's just your own emotion and I can't control that. But I know that for me, I will always do my best not to cry. And I know that sounds really unhealthy maybe and might not sound like the best advice, but for me, I try and think I want to be stone cold, especially if I'm doing the breaking up with, because I want to appear like confident, know what I want, and then I'm going to go and cry afterwards. Okay, now the after stage. The after stage is very important because this is where things tend to get messy. So my top tips. Number 1, block them. I'm a big advocate for blocking. I couldn't say it enough. Like, this is probably the thing that you have to take away from the whole episode. If you're going through a breakup, if someone's breaking up with you, you're breaking up with them, block them. It doesn't look weak. It doesn't look like, you know, oh, I'm going through such a tough time. I'm clearly taking it worse than they are because I need to block them. No, you have to block them because you're going to help yourself heal much quicker in the long run if you block them. Now, there's so many people, and I've seen it before, and I've never done this myself because it's just was not for me. But some people will say, oh, we want to stay friends though, so I'm not going to block them because that seems kind of harsh and that seems just a bit rude. No, I hate to break it to you, I do. But you're probably not going to be friends with this person. It's probably not going to happen. And if you do, it's not going to happen until you've properly healed. So you can only heal once you're not talking to them, out of sight, out of mind. I block people because I know that there will be a part of me when I'm going through the motions and I'm going to feel really sad and nostalgic and I'm going to want to message them. So I cannot do that. I have to hold myself accountable, and blocking them is the best way. You don't look weak by blocking someone if it's going to help you. This is very much you need to be selfish kind of thing. Being selfish is blocking them because you're putting yourself first, you're putting your own healing first, and you're not letting them have the chance to kind of weasel their way back into your life, because they will. They will constantly text you. Even if you say to them, oh, I need space, leave me, they will text you, they will message you. You will then end up texting them. Also, it's part of your daily routine to text that person every single day. So the really hard thing is holding off from texting them, especially when you actually have the ability to do that because you haven't blocked them. So block them because you know for a fact that you won't be able to not do that. It has become part of your daily routine for such a long time that you have to get it out. Block them and have good friends around you. Key is to have friends around you who are not just going to agree with you, but who know what is best for you. You need friends who are going to be like, no, let me just sit here and remind you all of the reasons why you shouldn't be with this person, what he did to you, what she did to you that was just so unacceptable, and that's literally why you've decided to make this decision. So you need those kind of friends who aren't just going to say every time you're thinking, oh, I really want to message him. Your friends are literally there to help you get through it. And if that means taking your phone and hiding it because you're so desperate to message them, then they should do that. Personally, I've been through a couple breakups in my time, and it got easier with having the discipline of not messaging that person or not wanting to unblock them. But in the beginning, I remember with my mum, I was so desperate to message this person, and she literally took my phone. I was like screaming, I was crying, like literally throwing a tantrum. She just took my phone, and I was honestly forever grateful for her for doing that. Now I think about it, because my gosh, it just helped me out. So personally, I think blocking I'm a big advocate for. Now, you can agree with me, you can disagree with me, but you got to do it. It's the hardest thing. You have to do it. You obviously send them a message before being like, I'm sorry, I just have to do this. It's the best way for me to get over things. Then you do it. Out of sight, out of mind. Trust me, it will make your life so much easier. Now, after blocking them and having a great friend that's going to help you through this whole thing, something that really helped me was journaling. And I don't just mean sitting and journaling every day, writing about your day. I mean, for the first week, because realistically, it's really hard to sit and journal, and most of us don't even journal for our own well-being. So it's pretty hard to just journal after you've broken up with someone. But what I've done is I've journaled every day for a week, the first week of my breakup, how I was feeling that day, everything brain dumped down on the page for a week. And the best thing about doing that is you get to look back every day at the previous day, how you felt, and start noticing a slight difference and feeling slightly better and slightly more healed. And then when you come back and look at it in a month or 2 months, you'll think, oh my gosh, I completely forgot how I felt that rubbish. It's just kind of a clarity moment, which brings me on to my next point. After you've journaled for the week, you're going through the breakup, you're going through the stages, let's say however long it takes you to get over this person. And there's no time limit on how long it should take you, because everyone goes through their own process of healing. Let's say once you started to feel more over them, you need to have your clarity moment. And this will come naturally. When I say clarity moment, what I mean by this is the moment where you realize that you did the right thing. In the moment, when you've broken up with them, the easiest thing to start feeling is all of the things that you miss about that person. And that will come whether you like it or not. You'll start thinking about all of the dates and the time in the day and the week that they filled up, and all of the cuddles and deep chats and support that they gave you when you're going through difficult times, and all of the friends that you met through them and everything. You're going to think about all of the good things that you miss until, light bulb moment, you're starting to feel better. You're starting to feel more confident in yourself again. And then you realize and have that clarity moment. And remember, I know why I did that. Why did I think that they were perfect? They were actually so manipulative, or they were so lazy and they just weren't worth my time. Then, when you get this clarity moment, what is key to do is to write this down too. Yes, I know. Have a book, have a journal, and make sure it's like private and just for your breakups, because you want to write down in your clarity moment every reason as to why they weren't for you. I will write a list for all the reasons to remind myself why I broke up with that person, or why they broke up with me and I didn't want to be with them. What that does is it helps you internalize that you made the right decision. Honestly, it's just a great reminder, and you can refer back to it and remember, oh my gosh, this person wasn't perfect for me. And that's also fine. We move. But this clarity moment is beautiful because you then start feeling so much better. You start feeling yourself again, and you start thriving. You didn't do anything that you would regret, which is messaging them again and again, or going back to them because you think that it was the right thing, because you didn't allow yourself to have enough time to heal. We don't need any of that. No, thank you. That is my guide to breaking up with someone. Now, being broken up with, this is not fun, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it because it's hell. It's really tough. It's a lot tougher than breaking up with someone, in my opinion. That is because they know what's coming and you have no idea. So typically, when you're being broken up with, this person who's breaking up with you has known that they wanted to do this for more than a week, let's say. Definitely more than a week. And that's the hardest part. Don't think that they're coming into this wanting to do it on a whim. They've thought about this for a little while, which means they've thought about it whilst you've been in the relationship, which is really sad and really hard, because you might have been thinking, oh, this is going great. Or you also might have not been thinking it's been going great. You might have thought it's time of day as well. But they've been thinking about this decision to break up with you for a little while, which means that they've mentally prepped themselves. It also means that they've had more time to process it, which puts you at a disadvantage. But hear me out. The caveat is that you can still come out on top if you do it the right way and you handle it the right way. So my tips are, pre being broken up with, just remember that they've thought about this, right? They know what's happening. You're just thinking about this for the first time. And honestly, I'm sorry if that is the case. It's really disheartening. I've been there. It's not fun. But you've got to take it as it comes, and you've got to be a champ. You've got to take it with as much grace as you can. That's the only thing you can do. During you being broken up with, matters a lot how you act. Personally, again, not everyone is going to agree with me on this, but my approach is trying not to cry, trying to stay as strong as possible. Not saying I'm going to act unbothered, because obviously you're going to be bothered when someone is breaking up with you that you love, that you've been together for years and that you're really happy with. Let's say you have to act as though you hear them, you understand them, and you're not going to throw a massive fit. You have to just say, I hear you, I understand. That's really sad that you feel that way, but I want you to be happy. And if it's not with me, then I hope you'll find the person that makes you happy. And the thing that's really hard to do about that is because you might think that looks really bad on you. You might think, oh, well, I want them to be happy with me, and then I don't want them to be happy with anyone else if it can't be me. That's a very immature way to look about things. And that's because realistically, guys, they're going to find someone else. And so are you. And you're both going to be happy with the right person. And you can't stop that. So you want to look super mature and understand that that's just life. And you don't sit there and think, oh, if they're not with me, like, I hope they're living their worst life possible. No, if you have the attitude where you're like, if I'm not making you happy, that's fine, and I hope you find the person that does, they will be like, what? oh my gosh, I was not expecting you to react like that. I was expecting you to throw a fit. I was expecting you to tell me how much you hate me now. You then shock them and they then start thinking, oh my God, you're making this so much harder for me because you're not having a massive go at me. You being really civilized and saying, oh, I understand. I want you to be happy. And if it's not with me, that's completely fine. Like, go and find your person, is really going to make it harder for them, because they will find it a lot easier if you are throwing a fit and going psycho, being crazy, and they'll be like, okay, I'm glad I made this decision. We don't want them thinking that. So you have to be humble. You have to be understanding that you might have to swallow your pride and say, I hope you're happy with the person that makes you most happy, because reality hits to them and they'll be like, oh my gosh, this person is way more mature than I thought. Maybe I'm making the wrong decision. Not saying that you're trying to win them back here, but that is just key. I would recommend you just being humble, you being civilized, and then obviously if you're thinking, what the hell, you can go and do that once they've left. Again, this really depends on the breakup. Is it toxic? Was it healthy? What kind of breakup is it? These things happen, you know? So cry with them, whatever it is that you need to do. Have your moment, going through the pain, talking about all the good things, reminiscing, hurting together, and then you get up and you go. And we don't wallow with them, because they're not going to make us feel better. They're the people who've just broken up with us. We're not going to find any happiness from them anymore, and that's just how it's going to be. Again, it depends on the breakup, so whatever works best for you. I just personally think that kind of attitude is the right attitude, because you look mature and you look like you're already on top because you are maturer. If that's even a word, I don't know. After, this is really key. This is probably the most important part. This is where it really hurts, because you had no idea it was coming, and you are going to feel like they might be moving on faster than you. They might be going out more than you. And that's probably because they knew that they were going to break up with you before you knew. And that's fine. Don't get thrown off if they have a girlfriend before you, or if they're going out with their friends and they're posting all the time and you feel like you're at home crying. That's also fine, because everyone heals in their own way. If you want to go out, meet new guys, meet new girls, go out clubbing, if that's what is going to be best for you, again, go and do that. Personally, I'm more someone who likes to sit and think about my feelings and go through them during the time. Using people as a distraction, again, is a distraction, and then you will start to feel the pain later if you haven't gone through it earlier. You cannot avoid the pain of a breakup. You just have to sit with it. And the earlier you sit with it, the better it's going to be for you. Just remember, it's not a competition of who heals first. Take your time, however long it takes you. It's all about your journey and your growth. It's not a competition. You have every right to take as long as you want, and no one should be judging you for that. Now look, it's all a mindset thing. Going through a breakup and being broken up with, it's all about mindset. You have to remember that this is your life. If they don't want to be with you, why do you want to be with them? I mean, even the slightest hint, if they're not sure about you, if they're not sure you're the one for them, if they're not giving you their all, you don't want to be with them. The more you internalize that, the more you realize that you are amazing. You have to start telling yourself that. Otherwise, you're going to start wallowing and it's going to be nasty. You don't have to be holding on to this grudge that they might have hurt you and hurt your pride, because if you let pride get in the way, it's just going to look ugly. So you have to have a strong mindset that you're going to find your person and they just weren't the person for you. You are a strong individual and you will heal. And the healing process is painful. But once you get through it, you learn so much and you evolve and grow so much every time you come out of a breakup. Whether you've been broken up with or whether you've done the breaking up, you come out stronger as a person with so much more growth. And then you can go and thrive and find someone who's even better. And if that's me, just spending time by myself and being single for a while, that is so needed sometimes, because you might just not want to rush into something else. I'd advise against that, because you want to figure out who you are again, who this new person is, with all this extra growth and healing that you've had might be a very different person to the one before the breakup. and before that relationship. So you want to figure out who that person is, and that might take time by yourself. That is more than okay. Just remember that you don't need anyone in order to make you happy. You can be fine by yourself. You can be very happy by yourself, and someone else should always just be an addition. But if you're going through a breakup and you need help and you enjoyed this episode and this type of episode, then please let me know in the comments of the Spotify section. If you're watching this on Spotify, listening to this on Spotify, let me know. And remember that you've got this. Stay strong. Breakups are never easy. So if you're breaking up this new year, if it's time to shed those dead weights, you know what to do. And more power to you. Just get the job done, because if they're not the one for you, then they're wasting your time. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Even if you're not going through a breakup right now, this just might be something entertaining to listen to or to save for when you are going through one, because it's not easy and sometimes we could all do with a bit of help. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I love you all. I hope you have the best rest of the week, and don't forget to subscribe and follow the podcast on whatever channel you're watching this on. I shall see you guys next Wednesday.